And there's news just coming in. As per sources, Air India will revoke the ban on Ravindra Gaikwad. This after the Civil Aviation Ministry wrote a letter to Air India for lifting the ban. Remember, there are several employees associations who have spoken out against this. The Cabin Crew Association as well as the Pilots Association have both spoken to the Air India CMD, but it turns out now that in all likelihood Air India will be revoking the ban on Ravindra Gaikwad. Anindya is with us for more on that story. Why the rethink? Because so far it seemed that Air India was standing behind their employees who are not very excited or pleased at the idea of Ravindra Gaikwad being allowed to fly again.
Air India, even as today, even as we speak, is standing behind the employee and is standing behind all its cabin crew. There has been a couple of meetings yesterday, one meeting between Jagajpati Raju and the CMD, another late night meeting between the MOS, Shiv Sena and the minister and the CMD. And both of where the sense that I got after speaking to multiple sources within Air India is that the CMD put forth his view that revocation of a ban, at least at this point of time, will not be a very wise idea. But it seems that the ministry has written the letter to the Air India, and probably as soon as today evening we'll see that revocation happening. Because this is a decision that is a political decision we have to understand. It is not beyond the realm of Air India now. Whatever had to, there's no denying the fact that CMD has stood behind its men. And it's a very unusual, Padmaja, twin union stand writing a letter and supporting its management, unprecedented in Air India, because we have seen in the past all the unions taking on the management. They all are saying that we're extremely proud of our CMD. And it's very unusual. So very clearly the CMD has to force his views, but he has limitations. And still it's a political decision taken at the top, and that's why we see the Ministry of Civil Aviation right now.
All right, Anindya, just stay with me. We'll also try and fix that audio that we have with you. It's very low right now. But let me, in the meantime, play out that entire press conference that Sanjay Raut, the Shiv Sena MP, had yesterday, where, if anything, he only made things worse, where he even said things like, who is the CMD of Air India? What auqat does he have? Basically standing behind their MP Ravindra Gaikwad and demanding that he be allowed to fly again. Here's what Mr. Raut had to say.
10 तारीख तक ये मामला नहीं सुलझा तो हम एनडीए के मीटिंग में नहीं जाएंगे। और ये मैं उद्धव जी से बात करने के बाद आपसे बयान, आपका भाई मेरा बयान है, पार्टी चीफ का बयान है, समझ लीजिए, मैं उनकी तरफ से बोल रहा हूं कि नहीं होगा।
Anindya, is there anything in the plan about Mr. Gaikwad tendering a formal apology? Because that's what most employee unions are also saying, that contrary to what he did yesterday, where he said, I only apologize to the parliament and not to Air India, is there going to be a rethink on his part? Maybe that's a way to arrive at a compromise? Anindya? Anindya, can you hear me? All right, Brijesh Pandey is also live with us from outside Parliament. Brijesh, is there going to be a rethink on the part of the Shiv Sena? Will they tender an apology to Air India as well?
The House, and in an extension they said that the House is the representative of 125 crore Indian. So in a way they tried to suggest that they have apologized to everyone involved. But when we asked them a specific question whether they will apologize to Air India, they said absolutely not. And they're saying that there is no way on earth they're going to apologize. And they have created also a lot of political pressure on the government to make sure that this ban is revoked as soon as possible. Yesterday, CMD of Air India had a meeting with both MOS Civil Aviation Shiv Sena as well as Civil Aviation Minister, and after that what we are getting to know is that the Civil Aviation Ministry has written a letter to Air India asking them to revoke ban on Ravindra Gaikwad. So it is a big development when it comes to this particular controversy. Remember, today is the 15th day of the ban which has been put on first by Air India and then by Federation of Indian Airlines.
And after 15 days, what prompted the government to finally accede to the demands of the Shiv Sena? Because categorically they said, we are not apologizing to Air India, whose staffer they had in fact assaulted. Vijay?
Well, you know, initially there was just one narrative. They said that, you know, the media was in particular was trying to show only one side of the narrative, which is of how Ravindra Gaikwad assaulted that Air India employee. But then the second video clips and a couple of other clips came out in which the Shiv Sena is trying to say that, you know, through those clips, it is very clear that the MP was humiliated and provoked to a level where he resorted to these kind of violence. And initially for the first 1 week, there was a lull in the storm. But I think, 48 hours before, a meeting between Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray and the rest of the Member of Parliament took place, and in that meeting it was decided that the Shiv Sena will increase the heat on the government when it comes to this particular issue. And this is the reason why we saw a belligerent Shiv Sena yesterday when Union Minister for Heavy Industry Anant Gite virtually heckling Civil Aviation Minister Ashok Gajpati Raju, who was visibly shaken. And you know, the Shiv Sena made it very clear that until and unless this ban is removed, they will go ahead and even boycott the NDA meeting, which is going to happen in Delhi on 10th of April. So they made it very clear. They raised the political stakes, and I think the government has buckled under that. And this is the reason why Civil Aviation Ministry has written a letter to Air India asking them to revoke this ban on Ravindra Gaikwad.
Very interesting. Even though there is no apology to Air India from Ravindra Gaikwad, the ban on him, which lasted over a fortnight, has been lifted by Air India. Has the Civil Aviation Ministry let him get away easy? We've got Anindo back with us on the phone line now. What prompted the lifting of this ban? What are you hearing from your sources, Anindo?
Well, as Brijesh was mentioning a while back, it is a political decision, and there's no denying the fact it's a political decision. The government was not in a mood to particularly the spread of the very fact that they pretend that they'll boycott the NDA meet on 8 is something that prompted the government to go into a huddle and rethink the entire strategy. They didn't buckle under pressure when they threatened to not allow flights to not take off from Mumbai airport. But think that they took that decision under tremendous political pressure. As far as the Air India is concerned, the rank and file is extremely certain, but they also realize the fact that the CMD has stood by them, the CMD has fought for them till the end, and he has his limitation. He has to put forth his view in front of both the ministers. He had a couple of meetings yesterday, one with the minister, the cabinet minister Gajpati Raju inside the parliament, another hour-and-a-half long meeting that lasted till 9:30 p.m. yesterday at the airline house with MOS, Civil Aviation, Shiv Sena, and both the instances were told Ashwini Lohani very clearly stated that if at all, the revocation has to happen, the time is not right. It is not the perfect time. Probably we should wait for another week or so. But probably there has been huge amount of political pressure, considering the fact 8th is not far away. Today is 7th, tomorrow is 8th. And clearly the Shiv Sena, a main key partner, which has been a partner ally of NDA for almost 25 years, keeps the NDA meet, doesn't give a very right signal, and is not a very clear, very nice optics, Padmaja, and that's why probably the government buckled under pressure and did what they did.
But Anindo, how will the CMD of Air India now reply to, or what will he say to all of the employee unions who basically have been saying that the very least they deserve is an apology for the kind of behavior they were subjected to? Now the ban is lifted. For all you know, you will have this man on an Air India flight very soon.
Absolutely. You know what, Padmata, this morning I was speaking to a very senior bureaucrat within the Ministry of Civil Aviation. I was asking this point very clearly, that there hasn't been any apology, there has been a regret. He said that the reply I got was that there's no difference between a regret and an apology. As far as the ministry is concerned, they're okay with the kind of reply that he has given, Mr. Ravindra Gaikwad has given. But talking about the kind of language, the tone and tonality of the letter, he talks about a regret. He regrets the unfortunate incident. He hasn't owned up the incident. He hasn't said that he is at fault. He's saying that investigation is on, and it will decide the sequence of events. Till then, he deserves to be. He deserves to fly Air India. So very clearly, the tone is absolutely present, and the fact of the matter that the ministry also believes that this is good enough, clearly indicates that there has been a pressure from the top, and it is nothing but a political decision taken at the top.
All right, just stay with me, Anando. We also have Brijesh live with us from outside Parliament. Is the Shiv Sena mollified now? Are they going to be a part of the NDA meeting, Brijesh?
Well, yes. I mean, this is what their main demand was, and they said that, you know, if the ban is not revoked till 10th, then they will boycott. But yesterday, BJP President Amit Shah had a telephonic conversation with Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray, and I think post this letter by Civil Aviation Ministry and the lifting of ban, the Shiv Sena will be attending the NDA meet, as this was the main stumbling block in between attending the meeting and boycotting it. And now, since Civil Aviation Ministry has written to the concerned airline, I think now the Shiv Sena will be attending this NDA meet. This NDA meet is extremely crucial, Padmaja, also because, you know, the government would want to discuss the potential names for the post of president and vice president, which is coming up for election. And this is the reason why the government is keen to make sure that every party which forms the NDA remains on one page and would give the NDA government an unfettered advantage when it comes to election for the post of president as well as the vice president. Padmaja?
Stay with me, Rajesh. Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Congress is also with us on the phone line. What does this say of the message being sent out to those thousands of Air India employees who had stood by their CMD when he put Ravindra Gaikwad on a no-fly list? Now this man can fly Air India again, Priyanka Chaturvedi.
And he gets to fly again because the Civil Aviation Minister asked them, writes them to do that, to lift the ban. Isn't this an unfortunate message that you're sending out to the country and to the people, that elected representatives are above the law and order that prevails for common citizens like you and me? If this was to happen to one of us, we would have been behind bars by now, but we haven't seen any kind of action coming from, the government of the day. We saw a Speaker of the House also not willing to take a suo motu action against them. It is just the Air India staff that stood by them, the private airlines that stood by Air India, and even the Commercial Pilots Association that stood by them. So it just sends out a very wrong message that they can get away with this kind of behavior without an apology. An apology to the Parliament for his misbehavior, but not to the Air India staff who he hit out at. This is extremely unfortunate and speaks of the hypocrisy of the BJP, that on one hand they want to hold people accountable, they talk about accountability, but on the other hand, they compromise on the values just because they continue being in alliance with the party in the centre and the state which they're governing in.
And quite a letdown, especially also because not only did this behavior, the bad behavior of the Shiv Sena, not only, it wasn't just limited to the aircraft, it also spilled over into Parliament yesterday, where in fact you had honourable members of the Shiv Sena actually manhandling or trying to manhandle a minister, a sitting minister, and cabinet colleagues.
And doesn't this entire incident also speak about how it will only end up emboldening other MPs, other elected representatives to behave in this kind of a manner, and will be able to get away with it simply because of their strength, their might, or because they happen to be in alliance with the ruling party of the day. So very, I would say it's very unfortunate message that we're sending out. And when we do not seek accountability from our elected representatives, what is the message that we are sending out to the society at large? That they can, we will have to face the brunt of law, but our elected representatives won't.
What a letdown, what a letdown. This kind of arm twisting and blackmail by the Shiv Sena has actually worked on their alliance partner and the Civil Aviation Ministry. A letter of regret, that's what Air India says, has been tendered by this MP, but it is not to Air India, it's only to Parliament. We're still waiting to hear more about that letter of regret. For now, thank you very much, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Brijesh Pandey and Anando for joining us on that story. We'll try and get more reactions from the ministry and from the BJP as well. Quick break, more on the other side. The other big story of the day, just a few hours after Shiv Sena MP Ravindra Gaikwad created a storm inside Parliament demanding that his flight ban by airlines be removed, Air India has given in. They have given the Shiv Sena what they wanted. In fact, bending to pressure, the national carrier has lifted the ban on Sena MP Ravindra Gaikwad. The centre succumbed to pressure from the Shiv Sena after it threatened to boycott a meeting of the NDA. Air India Cabin Crew Union had strongly rallied around its CMD in continuing the ban on Gaikwad until he tendered an unconditional apology. That apology did not come. A letter of regret was sent to the Civil Aviation Ministry, but we believe it followed the line of what Gaikwad had said in Parliament yesterday, where he said, "I apologize to Parliament if it feels that its image has been tarnished, but not to Air India." All right, Brijesh Pandey continues to be live with us. All the other private airlines also, I believe, are going to follow suit after India has taken Ravindra Gaikwad off the no-fly list, Brijesh?
Well, I think so, because, once the civil aviation has directed Air India to put Ravindra Gaikwad back on the flyers list, I think other private airlines will follow suit, because now they're left with no other alternative, as the main issue happened on Air India flight itself, and the other private airlines followed suit. So very soon we will also see the lifting of ban by Federation of Indian Airlines. I think in next 24 to 48 hours we will see that. Now the interesting part is how in the perception war this will be seen as a setback to the government, because till now it has maintained a very high standard as far as this issue of Shiv Sena MP Ravindra Gaikwad thrashing or severely thrashing in Air India staffer. But post this buckle down, it will be a perception problem as far as the government is concerned, and it will be interesting to see how they deal with it. Padmaja?
And not just that, what is the sentiment within Parliament? Because in the last 2 weeks we had seen, Brijesh, practically all the political parties, barring of course the Shiv Sena, had agreed with the Air India stand, with the private airline stand as well, that someone who tarnishes the image of MPs as a whole, of members of Parliament, does not deserve to fly. What are they saying now?
Padmaja, I think, initially that might be the sentiment, but off late, the sentiment were more in favor of Ravindra Gaikwad rather than the other way around. I mean, the borrowing line was, right or wrong, my son is my son. We saw yesterday Kalyan Banerjee of TMC standing up during this discussion, Ravindra Gaikwad issue, and kept on shouting under what law did the Air India debarred Ravindra Gaikwad from flying. They all made distinction between the cases, a couple of cases which has been registered against him, and said that those cases should be pursued, and if he is found guilty, law must take its own course. But they were dead against the fact that why on earth did Air India and all these private airlines had the guts of debarring a member of Parliament from flying, when they say that there's no such law which allows them or to take this kind of action. So they were more against this unilateral barring of a member of Parliament flying than anything else. But of late, several MPs were found more in favor of Ravindra Gaikwad and his debarring from flying rather than siding with Air India. Padmaja?
All right, we really wonder what the Employees Association, the Cabin Employees Association, the Pilots Association will have to say about what is a big setback to their stand so far. For now, Brijesh, thank you very much.